There is a place with the feel of golf's original home. It will grab your attention and challenge your game. With winds whipping and the waves crashing, this special place will be long remembered. But your course need not be set across the pond, for this place with the faraway feel is closer than you think.
Welcome to Michigan Golf Live Television, shining the spotlight on the top places for you to stay, play, relax, and enjoy the greatest game on earth. MGL-TV is presented by Ashworth, all we do is golf. Traverse City, the ultimate golf destination. Historic Grand Hotel on Mackinac Island. And by the Golf Association of Michigan. Stay connected to MGL 24/7 on Facebook, Twitter, online, and the free MGL mobile app for Android and iPhone. MGL TV starts now.
Hello and welcome to Michigan Golf Live TV. I'm Bill Hobson, and I bet it only took you about 3 seconds to fully realize where today's featured destination is located. We've come to the northwest corner of Michigan, to a place known not only to golfers in this state, but to golf nuts all across the country. Because the national publications have it right, Arcadia Bluffs is a special place to visit. If you want to learn the ins and outs at Arcadia, you visit with the President and Chief Operating Officer, Mr. Shriver. This place continues to amaze us every time we pull onto the property. So much is happening, so much is changing. Throughout this program, we're going to share a lot of that stuff with everybody. But the core still is golf, right?
The core still is golf. That's why we're here, and we'll always be here. And then the other things just revolve around the golf.
The national reputation of Arcadia continues to climb. Not that it has a long ways to go, but you're being mentioned in the same breath as some pretty famous destinations.
Well, I think we are, and that says a lot about the product that we offer. But I think it says more about when people come, the experience they have and the positive experience they take away from it, and they share it with their friends. And so the legend continues to build, as we say.
Over the years that we've known each other, I've noticed an increase in the number of just non-golfers, families who are coming out to take in the view and have a fantastic meal. This has become an intentional destination, hasn't it?
It really has, and on a daily basis we see as many, if not a few more non-golfers, just visitors, as we do as golfing and dining, and now lodging guests.
Well, we're going to talk about golf and dining and lodging and all those things throughout the show, but let's go to the first tee. Let's start on the front nine and walk folks through what a great golf course this is. We start off with a par 5 that is kind of a teaser, because it's not the hardest hole on the course, and it makes you think maybe this is going to be the big day where we go super low. Take us on number 1.
Well, it really does. It's a great opening hole because it gives you a chance to get loose, and you've got plenty of room off the tee. You've got a great aiming point in that sidewall bunker, and that's a signature of Warren Henderson's designs, is that he gives you an opportunity to get rolling. Great second shot, wide open again, and then of course, like most of the golf holes here, when you get around the green, it gets pretty tricky. 2 is a great par 3, doesn't require a long iron, you know, a mid-range iron for the white tee player. There's trouble, but it's right in front of you. 3 are at the highest point of the property up on the par 5, you know, well over 200 feet above the lake at that point, and just once you catch your breath and stop looking around, you've got a great par 5 to play with the framing of the sidewall bunkers in the fairway that we just redid a few of those.
And on number 3, that horizon on the background has a tree that is useful in aiming, but you wouldn't think so as you're standing in the fairway for your second shot.
Absolutely. It just kind of rises above the horizon there. And if you go at that, that's your best angle into the green, because it leaves you on the right side of the green, and there's a lot of fairway up there that you can't always see from your second vantage point.
But one of the characteristics of this great place is playing in the breeze, is being able to adapt your game away from what I would call the classic American high shot, maybe try to stick it and back it up, to a ground game, really, that's more often associated with Scotland.
Absolutely, and you find as you go around the golf course, a majority of the holes offer you that opportunity. There are a few times where you need to get your ball in the air, when you get around the green, but more so you have the opportunity to do either.
And number 3 is a good example of that. We're playing on a pretty breezy day here. We call it a windy day. You call it a normal day at Arcadia.
In the summer, yeah, this is pretty normal.
4th hole, that tree comes into play again because now it's a prime target for your tee shot.
It's a great aiming point, as well as the bunkers on the left that you come to that are probably about 320 off the tee. Good to be on the left side of the fairway there, so you're not blocked out by the bunkers on the right. And again, the green just opens up for you again, allowing you to either come in low or come in high.
Hole number 5 looks from the tee box as if it may never end. It does, but it doesn't look like it will. It's a very visually gripping hole.
It is, and we've got a sign on the tee encouraging people to make it a 3-shot hole. We've got an aiming post for your second shot, the black and white striped post that's at the far end, down on the top of the horizon there. But again, the 3rd shot requires some skill. You do need to get your ball in the air there, but with that huge green, it's about 56 paces from back to front, you've got a pretty big target to hit.
6th hole, you get an iron in your hands and play a par 3, and if you happen to be short, you got some trouble.
Absolutely, and that green, the green complex has changed a couple times since the inception of the club. It used to have a very steep sidewall face bunker that we took out about 5 years ago. And then the green used to have a very sharp ridge on the left side that stepped up to the 2nd tier. And we softened that a few years ago. And then the last modification we made, it had a huge saddle in the back center that we lowered a little bit. So it's a much more agreeable hole than it was when we opened the club.
And a bit later in the show, we'll talk about some other modifications you've made, mostly on the back. But as we come to number 7, we start to see some of that on the front. You're always paying attention to golfer feedback.
Absolutely.
That's what brings about the changes, right?
Absolutely. Almost every change we've made here, with the exception of a few, have come from golfer feedback. And invariably they are well received. People will tell you what they're thinking, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it's been really well received. And what a great golf hole. Difficult, of course, but again, opportunity off the tee. 2nd shot, you can bring it in high or you can bring it in low, and you've got a great opportunity to make a good score there.
And make sure you pick the correct fairway off of 7, because 7 and 15 are fairly closely joined.
Again, we have a sign that with arrows pointing both ways as a recommendation of a guest, and it was probably a good idea. But it does happen, tends to happen later in the day as the twilight starts to set in.
I'm a big fan of hole 8. Just a beautiful hole where you can make a 3 or you can make a 9.
If you're positioned well off the tee, as in most golf holes, you've got a good opportunity, but that's one of the holes here where you have to hit 2 quality shots to give yourself a look. If you do that, you will have a good look. There is room for a bailout on the left, but there's trouble to the right if you're short and right, but again, it's staring you right in the face, so you know it's there.
We get to number 9 to round out the front, and I noticed that down at the base of number 9, at the bottom of the false front, there's been a few chips hit over the years. Because if you don't club right, you're going to grab your wedge to come up to this par 3.
Yes, and generally that's playing downwind because it does face to the east, and the prevailing wind being from the west or northwest. But we do see a lot of people down there because you need to carry the ball past the front of the green. And with that illusion that it's really downhill, although it's not really a lot downhill, but the illusion is there. There are a few balls that land short. It's just a beautiful hole, and it's certainly a tough 3-par.
You can hit your tee shot short of the green, or you can putt your first putt off the green. So definitely some care should be taken.
And both have happened to many a player.
During my round at Arcadia, I have the privilege of playing with head golf professional Zach Chapin from Arcadia, and we're playing in some breeze today. I know for you folks this is every day, but for visitors it presents a fun, unique challenge that we might often think only takes place on the other side of the world.
Well, it doesn't, and it's challenging for all of us alike. Basically, the keys to playing in the wind are going to be, when it's breezy, swing easy. So take more club, swing a little bit easier, and it's going to keep your ball from spinning as much and getting chewed up by the wind out there. That and a knockdown shot are a good arsenal to have out here.
It is kind of an Arcadia characteristic to be able to play in the wind out here. In fact, even some of the flag sticks reflect that. That's why we're not that big. They happen to be just a little short for that reason, right?
They do happen to be a little bit shorter, and that's to keep them out of the wind. They're also reinforced with wood, so it keeps the flag from shaking a little bit and getting that hole out of round. So it hopefully makes your putt go in a little bit easier.
This front 9 is a beautiful way to start your round. Do you have a favorite hole?
I do. Number 3, the par 5. That's going to be my favorite hole in the front 9. The first 2 are great holes. They take you out, but 3, you get just a panoramic view of the golf course, and it's kind of that welcome to Arcadia moment that just kind of is breathtaking as well as challenging at the same time.
Well, we've got a lot more golf still to come, but when we come back on MGL-TV, we'll introduce you to some of the other aspects of Arcadia Bluffs that make it such a special place to visit. So stick around. We're back with more after this. Welcome back to Michigan Golf Live Television and our showcase of Arcadia Bluffs, a place that many of you have on your bucket list. And let's make one thing abundantly clear. You can come and play here. In fact, when you do, set aside a little bit extra time because there's so much more here than just golf. This is a property that has developed in amazing ways in just the last few years.
Well, since last October, we've added a new dining room. It's called the Lakeview Room, and there's a Lakeview Room, there's the Lakeview Bar, and then there's the private Lakeview Room where we can have a private party. And what we were lacking was a more casual spot for folks to go. If you just wanted to come have a drink, watch the sunset, we have multiple TVs in there. So it's not a sports bar, but it has that sports feel where you can feel free to converse and just be more relaxed. You can get any menu you'd like in there, but we do have a special Lakeview menu. And it's just a spectacular room with, of course, spectacular views of the property here at Arcadia Bluffs.
You have a popular restaurant here.
We do, and that it goes to the Arcadia experience. And that has evolved naturally as the golf course and as the club has over the years. The 3 chefs we have embrace the local fare, and they do a great job of bringing it to folks, and our servers do an incredible job of matching the wine that we have. And we have liquor here and wine that you can't get anywhere else because our guests come from all over the world, and they certainly have come to appreciate those things.
A few years ago, that top story was added and the lodge was born. And now we're looking at some cottages, which are going to be incredibly popular. If they're not already, they will be. The new additions right behind the 3rd tee.
Yes, last year we started construction on the cottages, and they're now available for daily rent, just as the lodge rooms are. And they're all 4-bedroom, 4-bath. 2 of them have king beds and 2 of them have 2 twins, so we can accommodate up to 8 guests in each. And they're just spectacular. And again, guest requests. The lodge is beautiful, but they're more for singles and couples. And now with the cottages available, bring your group of friends and stay for a day or 2 and just get the entire Arcadia experience. There'll be a putting green up there, so you can work on your putting as well. Gated, private, very comfortable, very relaxing, appointed just like the lodge rooms are, spectacular, and we can't wait for folks to see them.
What's the Arcadia experience for you?
This is one of my favorite golf courses on the planet. I just love it. It's every hole is a challenge and every view is just spectacular. It's not quite Pebble Beach, but it's pretty darn close. It's the Michigan Pebble Beach. That's the way I think of this course.
It also didn't cost $5 1/4 a round.
Exactly. Exactly.
Whenever I drive through the gates or the entrance, I get goosebumps. It's just, I've played all over the country and I come back every year, most times twice a year.
So you think it's earned its rankings in the national publications?
I think it's underranked.
Yeah.
But
And I think it's more, there's a lot else besides the golf too. It's the bagpipe,
yeah, the bagpipe player, the 19th hole, yeah.
Welcome back to MGL-TV at Arcadia Bluffs. And if you've ever been here before, you know that this row of chairs forms the gallery seating for the 18th green. But we're not quite to 18 yet. We've still got to showcase the beautiful back 9, so let's head over to tee number 10. We're blown away by the restaurant, the lodge, the cottages, and we come back again as we kind of head down the home stretch of our program. That 10th tee, as you stand on it and you're looking out at the beautiful lake, sets us off on a back 9 journey that's pretty challenging.
This back 9 is arguably one of the toughest back 9s in the country. And when you start on the 10th hole and you're standing there looking at the tee going, and I hit it where?
Over the pole.
Over the pole, which is interesting because if you hit a good tee shot, you won't see it land off the tee. But that's why the post is there. We actually have added spotters now on hole number 10. to help groups along, and it's been very helpful and very well received, again, at the recommendation of a guest. And it's worked out really well. But just a beautiful hole with the backdrop with the lake. And then the second shot can be a long iron, but again, it's mainly a mid-iron into a green that there's only one bunker on the entire hole, but it tends to get in the way of a lot of shots.
How tall is that wall?
About 12 feet.
Yeah, about 12 feet. Number 11 is the one that I cite when people say to me, what's your favorite hole in the state? I love that hole. It's beautiful, it's challenging. I am a sucker for that water view when we get up by the green, but that doesn't mean that I usually make a 5 or a 4 there. I'm always scrambling around to try something because that green is difficult.
You're right. I would say people refer to that as our signature hole, and we're often asked, what's your signature hole? And our answer is just, well, you pick one. But 11 is probably one of the most photographed holes, and the key to that hole we found is the second shot. You can get away with a little bit on your drive because we've given you plenty of room, but the second shot requires a fair amount of accuracy. But again, an option. You don't have to bomb it down there. You can take a mid-iron and punch it down the middle and just leave yourself a short iron into the green.
If you're a right-handed golfer and you're fighting the hooks, or if you're a lefty fighting the fade slice, number 12 is going to be a challenge. This is perhaps signature hole number 2 as it runs right along the edge of the water.
We'll call it signature hole 1A.
There you go.
And possibly more balls have been hit into the lake intentionally off of the 12th tee than unintentionally. But yes, another beautiful hole. Looking north, you've got the dunes in the background, and one of those few spots in the country where people say this is about as good as it gets. Plenty of room off the tee to the right, as Warren generally does. And even if you tug a little bit left, there is some room. We've got that tee box angled in such a way that kind of points you in the right direction. And then the second shot is the challenge. Play it to the front of the green, because the ball will release and go forward for you. If you fly it to that green, it's going to go over the back of the green.
And play it to the right front because that green feeds pretty hard to the left.
Absolutely. Again, a great design feature. If you pay attention to the GPS, we kind of guide you through it, but the more you play, the more you learn. Short and right is good on that hole because it's going to end up long and left.
Well, again, we talked about the breeze coming into play here. As we get to number 13 and we're playing this par 3 over the ravine, this is where the right club is mandatory.
Absolutely, and just a continuation of the picturesque holes on the back 9 and the difficulty of the back 9. Keep in mind that is downhill considerably, so it does play a little bit shorter than the yardage, but the intimidation factor is huge. Again, we modified that green over the years as well. It allows for more shots to be received and the ball stay on the green a little bit better. We've added a bunker to the front that wasn't originally there, but just get it around the green and give yourself a chance.
We make it through that with hopefully a 3 or a 4 at worst, and now we come to a very interesting 14th hole. It's hard to know off the tee box where it is I'm supposed to put this thing, and it's also one of those moments and one of those snapshots where I really feel like I have been teleported to the other side of the planet where golf was invented.
I'd agree with that. Other than the lake being behind you, just a beautiful golf hole. Options off the tee. You can go ahead and hit driver and try to sneak it around the corner, or you can play conservative and leave yourself 100 and 130 yards in. Take an extra club because you are going uphill. And then there's the bunker that's short right of the green. That's probably the deepest and most menacing on the entire golf course. The green accepts shots fairly well because you're generally coming in with a shorter iron. But I'd agree with you as you're all of a sudden you're on the other side of the planet.
15 comes up alongside number 7 that we had mentioned earlier in the program, so you're going to play this one up that right-hand fairway. It's a fun, you can see it all, par 5, and again, missing left on your approach shot is a very bad mistake.
I'd agree with that. The hole is right in front of you. Very generous landing area. Pay attention to the bunker that's in the middle of the fairway, about 100 yards short of the green. Work your way around that, and then be very careful on your third shot and know where the hole location is. That's one of the more tricky greens on the golf course. It's not talked about a lot. Your reference on hole number 9, how that repel shots that come short on the false front. 11 has that same issue, and you may find a few divots short of the 15th green as well.
We get to 16, it's right by the clubhouse. You're likely to have an audience of some degree watching your tee shot, and it needs to be a pretty healthy tee shot. This is a long par 4.
It does, because as you're standing on the tee on 16, you don't have a real good visual of the fairway because it's almost at horizon level. There is some room there, and it's easily the second or third most difficult hole on the golf course. The advantage is it is going downhill. Your second shot is very similar to that at 12, where you want to play your yardage to the front of the green and let the ball release. The trouble is all on the right. Those waste bunkers down the right-hand side as you get closer, native bunkers as you get close to the green, could be a problem if you get down in there.
Number 17 is my arch nemesis. It's a beautiful par 3. It's the one that, in all of my travels, owns me. I can hear it laughing at me when I stand in the tee box. And I know that you've done some things to even soften that up a little bit. I have yet to conquer number 17, so what's the secret?
Avoid the right. That's where all the problem is. If you can keep it at the green or left of the green, you're going to end up in a good position where you can have a chance to make par.
And that's one of the holes that you've modified the green a little bit to help out golfers. What will somebody who maybe hasn't been here in a couple of seasons and comes back notice about 17? What changed?
I would say the word I would use is that it has a softer look to it. It had a very small and very steep shelf on the left-hand side, almost like a shoebox stuck up there. Now we've pushed that slope more into the hill on the left and softened it out, so it's a much more holeable area around that, and it's just much more playable. And should you miss the shot to the right, your tee shot to the right, your pitch up from down in the valley comes up and has a better chance of landing and stopping somewhere around the hole rather than being repelled back to the front of the green.
Love this finishing hole. It's beautiful off the tee with the clubhouse framed in the back, and then on your second shot you most likely will see maybe the top of the flag, if anything. So there's some challenge to it. It's a great finishing hole.
There is, and right off the tee you've got the bunker in the middle of the fairway, which is actually a pretty good reference point, because otherwise you're just standing looking at the fairway and saying, okay, where do I want to go? You've got a focal point. Do I want to go left of the bunker or right of the bunker? And you're right on the second shot, depending on the hole location. We do have a longer flag stick we use when the hole location is in the back, which gives you a chance to see it. But we did raise that green this winter, or this fall, and that allows you to see the flag stick a little bit more. You can't see the green surface, but you can certainly see the hole locations much better on your second shot.
We finished 18 holes here, and Zach, this course never ceases to amaze me from both the standpoint of beauty and of challenge. What's the back nine like for you?
Well, the back nine is definitely a challenge filled with spectacular beauty, as you said. I mean, the views are just amazing, coupled with some risk-reward holes that are just greatly playable for you out there. It's enjoyable and frustrating at the same time.
My favorite hole, maybe on the planet, is number 11. I love playing the par 5 down the canyon towards the water. I don't always play it all that well, but I love to play it. What's your favorite hole on the back?
My favorite hole in the back is hole 14. It's a short par 4 with all kinds of challenges and some deep pop bunkers and some sod walls so you can get in trouble. You can hit 4-iron off the tee, or you can risk it to hit driver to have a small flip wedge in. Strategically, it's just great, and it just suits my eye very well.
If you hit that flip wedge in and you miss a little bit left, you're gonna have some adventure.
You are gonna have some adventure. You got to get up and down, and you've got a few other challenges coming back at you, but just don't miss.
This is your second lifetime round at Arcadia. What do you think of this place?
Well, it's majestic. You got views that you think you could only find in California that are right here in our backyard in Michigan. So it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience to come out here, and luckily I've got to come out here a couple times and check out the views, and if you're lucky you can catch a sunset.
It will surprise people to hear me use the word value when it comes to Arcadia Bluffs, but when we take the list of the top 20 courses in America and we see Arcadia in that top 10, all of your neighbors are double or triple the cost of playing golf. Is value the right word to put on it?
Absolutely. And during construction of the golf course, we're all sitting around a table and we agreed on two things. Number one, that this needed to be a public facility so that everyone in the world can enjoy it and come experience it. And number two, it needs to be affordable. And value is something that we provide, and the value that we provide is A, the condition that you'll find, B, hopefully the level of service that you get, and three, it's the Arcadia experience. And we'll go back to what we talked about at the beginning, that more people come here just to see it and experience it, and it's that it factor that Arcadia provides.
Some of the places we visit on MGL-TV are fun. Some of them are memorable, and some of them are downright special. And then every once in a while, we get the privilege of visiting a destination that combines all of those into one, and that's exactly what happens here at Arcadia Bluffs. So we want to end this program in a proper way with a true professional taking us out in grand style at one of America's most spectacular golf destinations. Enjoy your trip to Arcadia Bluffs, and we'll see you next time on MGL-TV.